Hello boys and girls, Royal Rumble 2013 review. I have to say I was quite underwhelmed with this pay-per-view, a little bit disappointed. I'll run through it now with you. First match we had was Alberto Del Rio versus Big Show. I don't know why this match needed to be a last man standing match. It was exactly the same way Del Rio won. I thought the first segment was kind of cool with Bret Hart and Rodriguez getting the glasses. That was kind of cool. I think Del Rio would not be a successful face without Rodriguez by his side. So I kind of like that. I think it's working for him. He picked up the win. I suppose you could argue that a last man standing match meant that the Big Show didn't have to lose legitimately 1-2-3 against Del Rio. And what you had was Rodriguez taping him with Big Show's feet with duct tape against the ropes. Kind of lame. I'm pretty sure Big Show, if he tried hard enough, could break the duct tape. It kind of reminded me of Jeff Hardy versus Matt Hardy in Extreme Rules a few years ago, where Jeff Hardy taped Matt to the table and it looked really stupid. So I kind of thought the ending was a bit lame, but I'm happy with Del Rio and I hope his face push works for him. So, you know, it was an okay match. Quite a cool spot with the table. Del Rio falling off of it. That actually looked quite painful. So, yeah, it was an okay match. Not complaining too much. Filler, so yeah, not really that good actually. The next match we had was Road Scholars versus Daniel Bryan and Kane. Again, a bit of a boring match, didn't really have too much bite to it. I was kind of hoping that perhaps Team Helmo would lose this match and get in a fight, so they split up, but that might be coming, as I'll explain later on in the match. And yeah, it was pretty boring. Kind of cool, Daniel Bryan got the win with a crossface, so I'm relatively content with that match, but yet again, underwhelming stuff, nothing special. Then we had the Royal Rumble, which was, I gotta say, it was pretty good. A few things actually really pissed me off about the Royal Rumble, though. We didn't really have any cool old stars returning. It started off with Jericho coming back. I thought that was actually really fucking cool. Perhaps he could have come later on. It might have been more of a shock, but that was very cool to see Jericho back. But one of my complaints is there weren't too many old stars coming back to the Royal Rumble, and that's what I always really enjoy about Royal Rumbles, is you get to see some legends from the past, and we didn't really see that today. The Godfather appeared, which is fucking cool. He only had 2 hoes in him. That was bullshit, and he got eliminated pretty much immediately. There were no returning wrestlers as well. I was really hoping to see the likes of Shelton Benjamin and MVP. I didn't really see any of that. So, you know, in a way, this Royal Rumble was ever so slightly disappointing. But at the same time, it did actually showcase a lot of the WWE's rising new stars. So I was quite happy about that. Again, I would love to have seen somebody like Road Dogg come back, or Mr. Ass, or X-Pac, you know, one of the Bushwhackers or something. That would have been pretty fucking cool. But, you know, there wasn't really too much of that, and that kind of sucked. But again, I think the younger stars did look okay. Ziggler looked great, lasted a long time. Ryback looked good. That's probably the one positive for me the entire night, that at least one up-and-coming star looked really good, and Ryback actually did look the part. Daniel Bryan and Kane, obviously they got into an argument, Daniel Bryan eliminating Kane, and then Kane choosing not to put him back in. That was cool. Perhaps we might see a split in Team Helmo, which I kind of hope happens, because I want to see Daniel Bryan in a singles match at WrestleMania. But yeah, the reason why this night to me is a bit of a disappointment is because this Royal Rumble basically spells out WrestleMania, and it looks extremely like we're going to have Rock Cena 2, not John Cena won the Royal Rumble, which, you know, I saw coming. I was a bit disappointed. I was kind of hoping perhaps somebody like, you know, Ryback or Dolph Ziggler or Bryan could have picked up the win, maybe even Sheamus or Orton, but, you know, John Cena, I actually really question the decision of the WWE to do this. You know, people always say that, no, you want to put John Cena in the main event because he's marketable and he'll sell tickets. Well, why is he marketable? Because in the past, he's been put in the main event and he's been able to build a name for himself. You're not doing that with other stars when you keep on giving the limelight to Cena, and that I find really disappointing about this. You could quite easily have had somebody else win. I would have loved to have seen Daniel Bryan win the Royal Rumble and Ziggler cash in the briefcase at some point and have Ziggler versus Bryan at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship. I would have thought that'd be great, and you could still somehow sneak Cena into the main event with The Rock. So the fact that they wasted a Royal Rumble yet again on John Cena, to me, is a mistake and fucking fucking predictable and damn boring. And to be honest, the night got even worse like that. I was so excited to watch CM Punk versus The Rock. I even bought the CM Punk DVD, which by the way is fantastic. You should watch it. It's fucking brilliant. I got myself really psyched up, and I actually thought that there was a possibility that Punk could win. Rock obviously is going to have the belt on him, so he can market the WWE up until WrestleMania, which is fine. I understand that, but I thought maybe, just maybe, Punk would win this match and Rock would then win it at Elimination Chamber. But in the main event, we had Rock Punk, and I have to say, I thought this match was not very good. The Rock, in my opinion, has got a lot of ring rust. He botched quite a few little moves here and there, like an atomic knee drop and like a suplex onto the stage kind of things. The Rock bottom on the table. You know, I haven't seen the table break like that before the move has hit for a long time, because the tables, I think, have been reinforced. So perhaps Rock kind of fucked that up. Maybe he didn't do something right, put too much weight in his feet for the Rock bottom, and that was a botch. And I thought there were quite a few botches in this match, so I was quite disappointed with it. I was not at all blown away by this match. I thought it was really disappointing, I have to admit. You get CM Punk, the Shield coming out. You know, CM Punk picking up the pin after the Shield, you know, put Rock through the table in the dark, which you can't quite see. I knew Vince McMahon was coming out. I was like, no fucking way are they going to end it like this. I was kind of thinking, oh yeah, great, they gave Punk the win, even though it was a shit win. And yeah, obviously Vince McMahon comes and restarts this match, and this is what really disappoints me, is because The Rock gets up, basically, does the people's elbow, which isn't even that good a finisher, and puts Punk away, and he wins the title, and 430 odd days are over just by people's elbow. I thought that was bullshit. Like, to me, the number one goal of the Royal Rumble is to push CM Punk, getting him in a match with The Rock. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't think CM Punk came out of this match looking any stronger than he did before, potentially even weaker. Obviously, a guy who's been out of the ring, you know, full time for 10 years comes back and beats the champion. It makes the belt look shit, makes Punk look shit, and I think this is the reason why I was actually quite disappointed with the Royal Rumble, is because there was absolutely no effort to push younger stars. And yeah, I would have liked to have seen us maybe Punk kick out of the people's elbow, get a GTS off, The Rock kicks out of it, Rock gives Punk a rock bottom and pins him, or maybe even Punk kicks out, you know, anything just to get Punk over and make him look strong, and he looked weak tonight, and to me that's complete bullshit, and I think it's an absolute travesty that we might have Rock versus Cena in the main event of WrestleMania, and obviously Cena's going to win that because The Rock's leaving after that, and I think that's a disgrace, and the reason why the WWE are failing right now is because they're just not going to push young fucking stars. We don't know what's going to happen, you know, WrestleMania, something might change, hopefully it will, but the fact that CM Punk isn't going to main event WrestleMania, despite being the champion for 400 days, is a fucking joke and a disgrace to the wrestling business itself. And obviously it is a business, so I understand that you want to have the biggest drawing card, but you want to fucking put wrestlers like CM Punk in the main events so then they become more bigger draws, and I think the WWE really failed on that. So I have to say, unfortunately, I was really looking forward to it, but I was actually pretty disappointed with the Royal Rumble, and things might change, but as far as I'm concerned, it's just the same old bullshit, putting like Cena and The Rock in the final, and it's lazy, and it makes the current stars on the roster look shit, having The Rock win it. And it reminds me a bit of actually John Cena when he beat Bradshaw at WrestleMania 22. Bradshaw's a champion for 300 days, goes through so much adversity holding onto the belt, cheating and fucking sneaking his way out of everything, and then just John Cena hits a stupid FU, which is basically a suplex, and wins the fucking belt. And that was just like what happened tonight. Punk, 400 days champion, but just a people's elbow from a guy who hasn't been around full time for 10 years, and that's it. And it makes the belt look shit, and it makes your current stars look shit. So I have to say, a bit disappointed with that pay-per-view, and I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10. Still entertaining, but the Royal Rumble wasn't amazing. It was good, but it wasn't amazing. Not enough young stars looking good, not enough cool like old gimmick entrants, and you know, the World Heavyweight Championship was kind of shit, tag teams kind of shit, main event actually really did suck, I have to say. And I'm not saying this because of The Rock won. I'm happy for The Rock to win it, but I just wish they did it in a better way, where Punk looked good and it was more of a competitive match, which it wasn't. So yeah, gotta say, Royal Rumble bullshit, not that good, and I'm actually very nervous what's going to happen for WrestleMania, because I do not want to be watching the WrestleMania main event, John Cena versus The Rock, knowing who's going to fucking win it. And I'm telling you right now, if John Cena becomes champion in that match, he's going to get booed out of the fucking stadium, and I think it just says a lot about how the WWE is really disconnected from its fans. So, bit pissed off by that, but at least Ryback looked good. So yeah, bit shit, but that's my fucking take on it, Biatch. Subscribe, comment, and like this bitch. Thank you very much.